A sudden car accident took my 4-year-old daughter away from us forever. The day of the trial, my husband, a gold medal lawyer from one of the country's top law firms, but stood on the defendant's stand to defend the perpetrator. I begged and pleaded. I even knelt in front of him. I just hope he can give my daughter a fair explanation. But he asked me in return, people can't be resurrected after death. Can't you give the living a way out? I always thought my husband kept a clear distinction between public and private matters. But when I witnessed him holding that murderer in his arms, I realized I was wrong. Leela, let's have another baby, okay? Yesterday, my daughter was alive and well. Now she's in an emergency room bed. Her mother was wiping her tears. My hand was shaking as I held the cell phone. The phone keeps beeping with an unconnected tone. The daughter's body was full of tubes. She shouted vaguely for her mom. I held back my tears, softly comforted her. Baby, hold on a little longer. After the doctor finishes the operation, Sophia will be able to see her mom. However, until her daughter's eyes are full of tears, slowly closed her eyes. The phone is still a cold, automated voice. The other end of the phone prompts the other party is in the middle of a call. Let's call again in a while. After 2 hours, the doctor came out of the emergency room. I rushed forward uncontrollably. I grabbed the doctor by the shoulders. I kept shaking him. Doctor, how's my daughter? Is she all right? The doctor didn't resist. He seemed to be used to this kind of situation. He took a deep breath. There was a hint of sadness in his tone. Slowly, he said the words that made me despair. I'm so sorry, Olivia. Olivia, we did everything we could. Hearing those words, she felt like the whole world was spinning. My daughter's smile and voice kept flashing in my head like a movie. I couldn't take it in. The daughter who was alive and well in the morning. Now she was lying quietly on the cold operating table. I felt dizzy. My ears were buzzing. I could hear my mom crying, Emily, it's Mom who didn't take care of Sophia. You must find the murderer. You must find the murderer and get justice for Sophia. My daughter's body was covered with a blinding white cloth. I followed a few expressionless doctors in white coats, pushing the cold car towards the morgue. I could not say a word. My heart was as hard as being cut by a knife. Like a soulless person, I followed along in the long corridor, only the sound of wheels turning, until the ringing of my cell phone suddenly broke the silence. Hubby finally called back. He said, didn't I say, don't bother me when I'm working? Sophia's birthday present. I already had it delivered yesterday. I'm busy now. Don't keep looking for me for small things. Besides, I have something to do today. I'm not going back. Olivia hung up the phone after saying that. He didn't even ask why I was in a hurry to find him. I was in a heavy mood. Opened WeChat. Tapped into his friend's circle. 8 minutes ago, he posted a new dynamic. It's a photo taken at a KTV. In the photo, there was a girl in a tight white dress standing beside him. The girl was snuggling on his shoulder. The hickey on her neck was very conspicuous. Next to the photo are the words, get what you want. The woman in the photo was all too familiar to me. She was Ethan's stepsister. She was also his first love, and the inviolable white moonlight in his heart, Leela. For her, Ethan even gave up his relationship with his daughter. Ethan even gave up the chance to see his daughter one last time. After I settled down my daughter, I rushed out of the hospital without hesitation. According to the location of Ethan's circle of friends, I quickly found him. He was with Leela. They were too focused, didn't notice me standing behind them. After a while, they reacted. Olivia, who asked you to come? Ethan was furious. He raised his hand and hit me in the face like he always does. My face was hot and painful, but this time my tone was unusually firm. You know, my daughter's only wish before she died was to see you, and you, but for your own selfishness. You're doing this here. I thought Ethan would be shocked and pained by the news of his daughter's death, and would even be sad and blame himself, but I didn't expect a look of weakness on his face. Dead. That's impossible. I had someone examine him at that time. He was really only wounded, Leela said in surprise, as soon as the words left her mouth. She realized that she had blurted them out. She immediately turned to avoid me. I asked, you know something? I immediately realized that there was something wrong with her tone. I wanted to continue to ask, but Ethan directly interrupted. He said, Olivia, we're talking business. I'm busy right now. I'll talk to you later. I asked, almost pleading, you must know something. Right, Ethan? Ethan, you're her real father. Slap, another slap to my face. Ethan says to Olivia, you need to calm down. Then he pulled Leela away, leaving me standing alone, not knowing what to do. Calm down. My daughter was hit by a car and killed. And he's still out there with someone else. He told me to calm down. He wouldn't even visit my daughter on her deathbed. He won't even seek justice for her. It takes a long time to wait from appeal to court. I had to send my daughter to be cremated first. I put aside all my reluctance. I called Ethan with the last bit of hope. Even though there was little hope, I still hoped Ethan could come to see my daughter one last time. But just as I was about to speak, an impatient voice came from the other end of the phone. I have said it many times. I'm busy with my day job. What I'm dealing with here is a matter of life and death. Don't make things worse. Okay, your daughter's life is not a life. Sophia today. I haven't finished speaking yet. A familiar female voice came from the other end of the phone. Evelyn, come back quickly. Don't disturb Dad's phone call. This is Evelyn, Leela's daughter. I have to thank her for that. If it wasn't for Evelyn, Leela wouldn't have been forced to leave the country to get married. Ethan wouldn't have chosen to be with me. That's enough. Didn't I say we'd talk about this later? I'm a little busy right now. When Ethan heard that, immediately came to the spirit. He rushed over without hanging up the phone. Evelyn, don't run around. Be good. Dad will take you to the playground this afternoon. Okay, Leela followed suit. Listen to Daddy, Dad. It's ironic. Ethan, your own daughter is dead, soon to be laid in a cold coffin, turned to ashes. And you're still out there caring about an outsider's child. I listened to your intimate conversation on the phone. I could picture Ethan being such a loving father to Evelyn, and how he usually treats my daughter. Sophia was just learning to walk. Ethan made her serve tea and water. When he wasn't satisfied, he yelled at Sophia. He even hit her, not to mention being gentle with her, or offering to take her out. Sophia is leaving now. Will it be just what he wants? 10 minutes before the trial started, my lawyer told me the perpetrator wanted to settle, but I immediately refused. It was my child. A living being. How could I agree to a settlement? As everyone sat down one by one, I became more and more excited inside. I could finally bring the murderer who killed my daughter to justice. It was at this time something unexpected happened to me. My husband appeared. He slowly walked towards the defendant's defense counsel table. Leela came striding in as the defendant. She was dressed like a runway model. She had a relaxed expression on her face. She smiled contemptuously when she saw me. I suddenly stood up. The chairs and tables rattled as I banged them. At that moment, I lost control of myself. I rushed towards Leela like a madman. No matter how many people tried to stop me, I tried my best to pull her clothes. I hit her with my fists. I wanted to expose her mask. Olivia, take it easy. Ethan stood in front of me. He was afraid that Leela would get hurt. Are you out of your mind? She's the one who killed your daughter, and you're still defending her, thinking that Ethan knew about Sophia's death long ago. He even knew the whole process of Sophia's death, but he still spared no effort to defend Leela. My heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. The pain was unbearable. I'm not taking this case. Someone else will. I have to make money too to support myself. I was sad when Sophia left, but she's gone. We can't change that. Why do you have to keep dwelling on it? I stared at Ethan. I couldn't say a word. How can anyone face their daughter's murderer and still be able to speak with a straight face? How can anyone face their daughter's murderer and say such ridiculous things with a straight face? I broke away from his hand. I slapped him in the face, just like he usually does to me. Ethan looked surprised. Olivia, how dare you hit me? By this time, the courtroom was a mess. The court was adjourned. Leela walked up to me. She had a smirk on her face. What's there to say? You think I would be willing to settle with you? I pressed the fire in my heart, said word for word. Leela smiled. Without a care in the world, she said. Reconciliation. Like I don't need your help. Guess. Will her father sign the settlement letter? Said. She unhurriedly took out a settlement letter from her bag. There were 3 big words clearly written on it. Ethan. I couldn't hold back any longer. I rushed up and grabbed her by the collar, but she laughed even more proudly. You want to do it? Come on if you can. Let's see which one of us gets there first. The commotion here soon attracted the attention of others. Everyone stopped me. I sat on the ground. Tears couldn't stop flowing. I felt like I was about to break down. Leela looked at my messy appearance, laughing even more triumphantly. She said, Olivia, you should know. Your daughter's arrival was an accident. Since it was an accident, I'll help you get rid of her. What's wrong with that? If I hadn't left the country, you wouldn't have had the chance to be with Ethan. Since you chose to follow someone else, you have to be prepared to lose everything. Ethan signed the settlement letter. The case was soon closed. Mother knew about what happened in court. Her eyes were dull, calm to the core. She was silent for a long time. Finally, she said softly, "If I had watched Sophia properly that day, she wouldn't have been in trouble." I said to my mom, "Mom, don't think like that. It's all Leela's fault." I tried my best to comfort her. I was worried that she wouldn't be able to handle the shock. She might do something irrational. I brought my mother home. I want to take good care of her. I've already lost my daughter. I can't lose another person who is very important to me. But in the end, she still left. She felt that her granddaughter was brought up by her, but lost her through her own negligence. Ethan's callousness was the final straw that broke her back. It was on the afternoon of the third day after the trial, the time I was out running errands. My mother, who had worked hard all her life, after repeatedly touching her granddaughter's last photo, with deep guilt and despair, jumped from a 20-story building. When I rushed downstairs, my beloved mother had turned into a cold corpse. The north wind of December howled. The sounds of ambulances were mixed in, although my mother and I were close by. But an isolation zone lay between us like a moat. I lost my last hold on this world. My eyes went black. I fell straight down. The noises around me also suddenly disappeared. I don't know how long it took. There was a ding. The sound of a cell phone text message woke me up from my nightmare. I took a look. It was a short message from a familiar number. After settling my mother's affairs, I contacted Chris. He had messaged me before. He said he had a video of my daughter on the day of her accident. We met at the barbecue restaurant we frequented in college. The table was filled with my favorite dishes, but at this moment, I have no appetite at all. Chris is my college friend, although he doesn't have delicate features like Ethan, but he is also fresh and decent looking. During college, there were many people around him who had a crush on him, but he politely declined them all. He seemed particularly willing to help me. No matter what my needs are, he would try his best to fulfill it. I was able to successfully obtain my license to practice law. He was instrumental in that. "Emily, eat as much as you can." He looked at me. "I've been haggard all this time," he said with pain. "Thank you, but I really can't eat anymore." "What was that video you were talking about?" He poured me a glass of wine. He slowly pulled out his cell phone. "Emily, whatever you see next, take it easy. Okay, in the video, Ethan is holding Sophia's hand. He's walking slowly," Chris mentioned. "He understands our family situation. Ethan is holding his daughter's hand. This is a rare situation. Hence, he was immediately interested in recording the video as soon as he saw it. Wasn't my mom babysitting that day? I understand." You continue to look down. After a while, a woman appeared on the screen. It's Leela. She's coming this way and she's hugging Ethan. She came over to Ethan and hugged him. "Is the hotel booked?" Ethan's face is slightly red. He said softly, "It's already booked, Leela." "Leela, it's not a good idea to have a child as young as Sophia watching. Wouldn't it be a bad idea to let Sophia watch?" Leela replies with a smile. "It's fine. It's more fun this way," he said. He turned his head to Sophia again. Said, "Hey, little one, if you dare to go back and tell your mom, be careful, you know what will happen." She waved her hand. Sophia looked at her nervously, eyes blinking, not daring to say a word. Leela saw that her words were having an effect. She left Sophia alone. She took Ethan's arm. And walked towards a nearby bar. Sophia was left sitting alone on the bench. Chris said he felt something was wrong. He followed them into the bar. Because recording video was too conspicuous, he decided to record instead. He said to Emily, "Emily, you promise me first. Don't do anything impulsive." "Okay." He looked at me. He realized that I was already so angry that my veins were bulging. He slowly took out a tape recorder from his bag. In the noisy music of the bar, I could faintly hear the conversation between the two of them. "Ethan, your wife can't find you. She will not be angry. She is. At home, I always do what I say. She wouldn't dare be angry. You left your daughter at the door. No one's watching. It's okay. She always listens to me. As long as I don't let her run around, she'll stay right there. She won't move for the rest of the night." "That's good. Let's keep drinking. Ha ha ha." Chris, Emily, I didn't dare to show you this recording at that time. I was afraid you'd think I was meddling. I found out about Sophia. I quietly went to check the security cameras on that street that day. I didn't let you know. About an hour later, they walked out of the bar arm in arm. They ignored Sophia, who was shivering next to them. They went straight to Paramela. "Leela, you've had so much to drink. Let's call a cab, don't worry. You're a top lawyer. We don't need to be afraid of the traffic police." Right at that moment, Sophia saw them leaving, rushed to the front of the car. At the same time, the sound of the gas pedal starting drowned out Sophia's shouts for Dad. the Porsche's blinding lights came on. It shone so brightly that Sophia, who was blocking the front of the car, couldn't open her eyes. Leila didn't care. She just turned her head to her husband on the passenger side. "Ethan, let's do something exciting. What do you say?" The car was going out of the car. I couldn't hold back any longer. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I fell on the table and cried. Chris comforted me. "Emily, you are still young, don't think about it. I won't do anything stupid. I'm going to make these two villains pay. My way." Chris was silent for a moment, didn't say anything to stop it. He knew, even he, a bystander, found it hard to accept. And I, the one who experienced it firsthand. The pain I have to endure will only be greater. "Emily, if you need any help, just let me know." Chris is a journalist. His parents work for the government. He's met a lot of people in different industries over the years. He has a wide network. "I'll ask him to find a private detective for me. Money is not a problem." He agreed. "Private detectives are very efficient. I need all the information." I found it all in just 5 days. He gave me a USB flash drive. There are many photos on it, organized by year. He told me. He traced their dates. He even went to the local area to ask people who knew them. I looked at the information he gave me. My heart wasn't in it. It turns out that Ethan and I have been married all these years. He and Leila never stopped seeing each other, the 2nd year of our marriage. After I gave birth to Sophia, the two of them started to have frequent contact. Every time they went to the hotel and the time and place, I knew exactly. Ethan even transferred all our money to Leila. All transferred to Leila. Every weekend, they would go to the next city for a while. In that city, Ethan and Leila bought a house. Leila's name is on the real estate license. The neighbors thought they were a couple who could only see each other on weekends, according to Ethan's family's former nanny. Leila didn't leave the country to get married. In fact, Ethan and Leila were caught by Ethan's dad while they were having an intimate relationship at home. Ethan had a high fever at the time, begging in the rain for a day and a night. Ethan's dad finally agreed to let them be together. They told Leila, "She can be with Ethan, but don't try to inherit Ethan's money." Ethan paid most of the money for the house. Their house in the city was a big villa. In front of the villa, there is a nice little field of flowers. Leila's daughter Evelyn is sitting on a swing. Leila and Ethan push the swing together. It looks like a happy family. The detective glances at Chris, seems to be thinking about something. Chris gently tapped my shoulder, said to me, "Emily, what happens next? I hope you can hold on." I thought to myself, what can I not hold on to? The day your mom killed herself, your husband Ethan came by the house. What do you mean Ethan said something to my mom? The detective showed me a video. In the video, Ethan said to my mom, "Why can't I take this case? Why can't I take this case? You should be the defendant in this case. You can't even take care of a child. What else can you do? You can't even do this little thing. You're useless. You're the one who killed your granddaughter." The detective has probably never seen such a son-in-law. He sighed softly. I thought, my mother killed herself because she couldn't bear the thought of losing her granddaughter. It turned out to be because of a casual complaint Ethan made. We've been married for so many years. My mom always treated him like her own son. I never thought I'd raise an ungrateful man. I clenched my teeth. My whole body trembled. The hand gripping the photo turned white. Those two murderers who killed my daughter. Not only did they bite back, they also forced my mother to die. I pulled my thoughts back. The thought of revenge grew stronger in my heart, but my eyes were unusually calm. I just faintly said to Chris and the private detective, "Thank you guys for letting me know so much. A true friend will only show up in difficult moments. After experiencing these things, all the friends around me started to alienate me. Only Chris has been helping me with various things. He's such a professional private detective. It must have taken a lot of effort, but he doesn't seem to care at all. To be able to help you, I'll be happy. I want to take revenge," I said coldly. "If they were just punished with the law, that's too light for this pair. I want to bring them into disrepute." Chris and the private detective stood aside, didn't say a word, but the eyes revealed approval. I thanked them, got up and walked out of the room. "Wait for it. I'll make you all pay." A court summons was mailed to Ethan's law firm. The grounds are for unlawful transfer of marital property. "Olivia, what do you mean by that? How dare you sue me?" On the other end of the phone, Ethan shouted angrily. "Ethan, I gave you money. I didn't give you the money so you could spend it on other people." "Good. Let's see who wins." Ethan seems to have been angered by me. "We're in for a treat. I hope you can handle it. A private investigator has sources of information that ordinary people can't access." He found out all about Leela for me in just a few days. I feel sorry for Ethan, such a person of bad character. Surprisingly, he regarded him as a pure and flawless ideal object. Leela is addicted to gambling abroad. This time she came back just to cheat Ethan. She intends to transfer our couple's joint property to her account to pay off her gambling debts. It's really breathless. I looked at the last photos of my mother and daughter on the wall. I swore in my heart, Mom, Sophia, your revenge will soon be avenged. In the traffic camera, Ethan is sitting in the car arguing with Leela. I'm watching silently from this side of the screen. A few days ago, Leela's husband Ryan came back from abroad. He came to the city where we live. He saw Leela and Ethan tugging at each other. Ryan is no pushover. He's a big shot in the overseas gangs. When I first met him, he was holding a dagger to my waist. He said, I don't care if Leela cheated on me. She also has more than one lover abroad. But if you find out about this, you won't be able to live. I said slowly and calmly, Is your daughter's name Evelyn? Then asked, You know that? Did you know that your daughter already calls Ethan her mom? Mr. Ryan, I want you to be patient and listen to what Leela has been hiding from you all these years. Think about it. Is it true that you want to kill me? I've laid out all the evidence that the private investigators have found. All these years, Leela used Ryan's trust in her. She did a lot of bad things abroad. Not only was she involved in gambling and smuggling, and also, without Ryan's knowledge, she secretly transferred his family's property for gambling. What's even more outrageous, she also lied to Ethan at home, said she and Ryan had divorced, that she and Ryan were divorced, and that she wanted to come back and run away with Ethan. As an ordinary father, no one can stand the thought of their kid calling someone else dad, not to mention a gangster. Ryan heard me out. He immediately agreed to join forces with me. Mtkes Olivia, I sympathize with you, if you're willing. I can solve Leela and Ethan's problems abroad. It's too easy to deal with them directly. I'll make their lives harder than death. In the car recorder, the arguing hasn't stopped. Ethan, you listen to me. I'm definitely getting a divorce. It's just a matter of time. You lied to me. Ryan came to my door. He's your husband. What does that make me? And the baby you're carrying? What does that have to do with me? You tell me. What about our baby? Olivia and I are getting divorced soon. Is our child going to be born out of wedlock, Ethan? Don't rush to divorce Olivia yet. Find a way to transfer your joint assets. You know how I am with investments. Ryan mentioned it. The company is at a critical stage of preparing for the IPO. We have to wait for at least another 6 months before we can go public with the divorce. I can only let you suffer a little bit now. Ethan, you go back and coax her more. Say more good words. Ethan thought about it, slowly nodded. I didn't think Ethan and Leela would do such a thing in order to let their child have a name, to find a mob boss to be this scapegoat father. Sure enough, it didn't take long. Ethan came into the house since getting married. He rarely comes back, he said. Wife, I'm back. She was carrying a few designer shopping bags. Why are you back? I asked. Why can't I come back if there is nothing wrong? I just missed you, she said. She opened the luxury goods in her hand, like showing off her treasures, telling me that this is the dress, jewelry, and skin care products she bought for me. Ethan actually took the initiative to buy me a gift today. It's really rare, he said. Honey, let's have another baby. Maybe this child will be Sophia. He approached me gently. There was a hint of anticipation in his tone. I thought it was ridiculous. All these years, we've had so few intimate moments as a couple. We can count them on one hand. If it was a few months ago, I would have felt especially excited. But now, smelling that strong perfume on him, I just feel uncomfortable, even a little bit want to vomit. I pushed him away, pretending to be sad. I'm not in a good mood today. Leave me alone. A month passed like this. I never got any further with Ethan. He became anxious. Finally, one day, he seized the opportunity, asked me out for dinner. He excused himself to relax, opened a bottle of red wine at the dinner table. He kept apologizing to me. Honey, I'm sorry. I've been too willful all these years. From now on, I'll live a good life with you. Okay, I feel so bad. So he knew everything. He just took advantage of my feelings for him. That's why he hurt me like this without a care in the world. When I was having dinner with Ethan, Ryan called. He told me he has followed my arrangement. Leela went to Macau on a business trip. Sure enough, she went straight to the casino as soon as she got off the plane. Ryan utilized the relationship, making her lose completely in just 3 days. She not only lost all her money, and also owed a whole lot of debt. After listening to him, I smiled with satisfaction. I pretended to be drunk. Ethan helped me into the bedroom. While helping me undress, he muttered, "Who wants to have another baby with you?" I forced down the anger in my heart. I couldn't wait to get up and do something to Ethan, but I told myself, just hold back a little longer. My plan is about to work. Ethan, you know how much Sophia loved you? On her deathbed, she couldn't stop talking about her dad. I whispered. Ethan stopped undressing me. He froze, whispered, "You and I weren't meant to be." The next morning, I woke up. Ethan was lying next to me. His expression was gentle. He said, "Let's have a good life from now on." I didn't say anything. He just smiled at me. A few days later, Leela came to my door with red eyes. When Ethan opened the door and saw Leela, he looked very surprised. "What are you doing back? Olivia will be home soon." "Ethan, I'm in desperate need of money. I'm getting a divorce soon." Ryan mentioned it. "Only if the company goes public. He'll agree to a divorce. The company is still short of money for the IPO. When I get divorced, we'll be able to leave together." Leela told Ethan eagerly, "But the reality is, if she doesn't pay back the money again, the people at the casino will treat her badly. I really don't have any money now. All the money has been transferred to you. How about we sell that house?" Ethan said with some confusion, but he didn't realize. The house had already been sold by Leela to pay off her debts. Leela said vaguely, "How could I sell the house? It's a house of memories. It's uncomfortable. The so-called memories of love." I stared at the surveillance image on my cell phone. I smiled coldly. "Ethan, let's apply for a loan. I've already asked a lender. Use your identity as a top lawyer as a guarantee. We can definitely borrow a lot of money. After Ryan and I finish the divorce formalities, we'll go to Maldives. What do you think?" Ethan thought about it for a long time. In the end, he agreed. I didn't know what to say for a while. I couldn't understand Ethan's thinking at all. He's obviously a law student. He's also a private lender. How could he believe Leela's words so easily? True love conquers all. Right, in front of the law firm, Ethan was on his way home after work. Suddenly, a tall man blocked his way. This man is very tall. The face that should have been handsome was full of fatigue. "I want to talk to you about Leela." Ethan has a puzzled expression on his face, but remained polite. "What happened to her?" He instantly burst into tears, fell to his knees with a thud. "You must know where Leela is. Please tell me. I can't find her. She promised to marry me." Ethan was shocked as if he'd been struck by lightning. It was rush hour. Everyone around him was watching. Ethan thought it was all ridiculous. "What are you talking about? How could Leela be with you?" The man's name is Daniel. He's a male model in a nightclub. He's just started in the industry. He's very filial to his parents, but they're both sick and hospitalized. When Leela first returned to China, she met him by chance when she first started working for her. At that time, Leela had some money in her hand. She wanted to be a savior, so she adopted him. But money always runs out. Leela is a fickle person. She soon forgot about him. This man is quite devoted. A little favor makes him want to do everything for Leela. "Leela has nothing to do with you. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll call the police." Ethan ran backwards while talking in his heart. Leela is still the one who only loves him, the white moonlight who will soon leave with him. This man doesn't look like he's acting. I didn't realize. The person I arranged for had already filmed the whole thing with a high-definition camera in the dark. Daniel was found for me by Ryan. I do have to thank him properly. Ethan returned home unsettled, full of fire, sitting on the couch in silence. He clearly wanted to be angry with me. I could tell he was trying to restrain himself, but in the end, he couldn't hold back, shouting at me. "Don't you know that I'm already tired after working all day? You don't even cook for me. Water doesn't boil for me either." It looks like he still wants to be the same as before. Come and beat me. I know. It's time to make things clear with him. My tone is getting stronger. "I want to ask you, are you too tired from work?" I angrily slammed the teacup in my hand on the floor. Ethan visibly froze, trying to hide his panic. "What are you babbling about? Is it because you can't find that special person in your heart? So in a bad mood?" I smiled. Didn't say anything, just looked at my watch. He should be here soon. A few minutes later, Ryan knocked on the door and entered the house. Ethan hadn't even seen who it was, just had a sudden flash of inspiration. He said out loud, "Why did you say that just now? So you found a new way out. Specially came to confess to me." "Right," he told me directly. "It's not that simple to get a divorce, unless you transfer all your assets to my name." I don't understand how he can say such things with such a straight face. It makes me resent him even more. "Want to share my property? You'd better think about how to explain it to the judge first. Can you still reach Leela?" Ryan asked with his arms folded across his chest. At that moment, Ethan saw the face of the other party. Surprisingly, it was Leela's gangster husband from abroad. "You are Ryan." Ethan's expression slowly changed from arrogance to fear. Have to say, he was indeed very smart. He quickly realized, we've learned all the truth, including that she conspired with Leela, planned to get Ryan divorced, and his attempts to transfer our marital assets and then go far away. And also, he drove my mother, who he considered her like his own daughter, to her death with a single word. Ryan punched Ethan in the face. The ferocity of it kept Ethan from moving. He said, "I'm married to Leela. I don't care what she does out there. Ethan, you shouldn't make my daughter call you dad. And by the way, do you really think I have a company to go public? Do you know that your favorite sister Leela has been lying to you? The money she asked you for, actually used it all to pay off her gambling debts, and the house you used to have full of memories. He's already mortgaged it to my family's lending company. You are too naive. Someone else cheated you, and you're still here to settle the score for others." I'd like to clap my hands right now. Ryan took out his cell phone. "Throw it directly in front of Ethan. You can see for yourself." Ethan sits helplessly on the floor, watching the video of Leela being tasered and beaten. He thought to himself, "I'm afraid Leela's future days will be very painful." In the video, Leela was beaten beyond endurance in Macau. She cries out, "Brother, stop it." The guarantor is Ethan. Ethan is a very powerful lawyer. You guys can go to him for help. He is financially well off. Ethan recovered from his surprise. He immediately thought of the money he had guaranteed. "No one can pay it back for him except me," he said hastily. "Honey, I was wrong. You helped me. We've been together for so many years. You should forgive me, right? I'll live a good life with you from now on." "Okay." He knelt on the ground. He was crying with tears on his face. The way he was fumbling around made me feel very uncomfortable. I couldn't help it. I slapped him in the face. "I help you still. Okay, then you give me back my daughter and my mom's life." I gathered all the evidence. I took Ethan to court. The court found that he cheated during the marriage and illegally transferred the joint property. In the end, I won the case, letting him out of the house with a clean slate. Ryan gave me a call before he returned home. He said he wanted to give me a big gift. At the same time, Leela and Ethan's love story spread rapidly on the internet. It attracted a lot of attention. Many famous anchors have expressed their views, afraid of missing this hot topic. Ethan's family's shares suddenly plummeted. The entire family went bankrupt overnight. Ethan became the object of scorn. He was fired from his firm. He couldn't find a job, lost his honor, status, and position. He could even face jail time. He had an impulse, got into a car accident. As a result, he'll be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. I wonder when he wakes up in the middle of the night, will he regret what he did wrong, thinking of his daughter who died young, and his mother-in-law who loved him like her own son. He must not feel good in his heart, remembering his wife who used to care for him like a treasure for so many years. I was the only one who took care of him. When he was sick, I took care of him. I didn't dare to be negligent. This car accident, there was no one around him. It was hard on him. It was like dying. Olivia, if you really divorce me, I'll jump in the river. Ethan, if you do, I'll jump in the river. I'll do it. You don't want a divorce. Go ahead and jump in the river. If you don't die, I won't divorce you. I won't divorce you. I kicked him away. Then I turned around and left. The people around me didn't sympathize with him, just cast sighs of relief. Ethan burst into tears. To be honest, I didn't particularly hate Leela. I don't particularly hate Leela, but I hate Ethan with a passion. Leela is pretty. In Macau, she was forced to go to entertainment centers to serve rich people with special needs, both men and women. She suffered unimaginable pain every day. The breeze is blowing, with the smell of spring. I put a bouquet of flowers on Sophia and Mom's grave. Mom, Sophia, Sophia, you may rest in peace. Chris and I stood side by side. We looked at each other in silence. No one said a word. I found out later, Chris had a crush on me since college. It's just that, when he saw that I was devoted to Ethan, he buried it in his heart. He buried it in his heart. The heat of public opinion this time made more and more people come to me for cases. And my career got better and better. It didn't take long. Chris and I got married, and we had a child of our own. The child's eyebrows and eyes look a bit like Sophia's. It often makes me feel like I'm in a trance. It was New Year's. Our family walked down the street. The sound of firecrackers was constant. There was a festive atmosphere around us. A girl put her change into the bowl of a roadside beggar. She turned to us and said, "You guys know what? They all say that Beggar used to be a very powerful lawyer. It's unlikely. Lawyers know matter how not to become a beggar. Ah, haha, you are right.